Hi, welcome back to another edition of the Coach's Corner. With me, as always, Clayton Hoford and guest on the show, Isaac. Today, we're going to be reviewing the very depressing game, in my opinion, being a Vikings fan, of the Saints and Vikings. The Saints 52-33, steamrolling of my Minnesota Vikings. So, outside of ALVIN Kamara and his record-tying game, what are your guys' thoughts on this game?
I thought it was a very depressing day for your Vikings defense. We've seen them all year where they haven't looked, great, but they got exposed in this game, in a game where Drew Brees
Didn't have
didn't
to do
play
anything.
particularly well. He didn't play well, and I'm actually concerned by his play going forward. I don't think he's right from that injury, but to see Brees play the way he did, throw 2 picks, no touchdowns, 311 passing yards, and still put up 52 points against that Vikings team. I mean, the Vikings, they got a lot to figure out right now on that defensive end.
Yeah. One thing I was going to point out is, injuries are part of football. We talk about that all the time on this show, but the linebacking core, absolutely, those injuries hurt us. And opt-outs, as we talked about with Michael Pierce, and then the injury with Neil Hunter, those are both huge, but you should be able to overcome them. I mean, you can't replace them, but you should be able to find a way to adjust your team, because the opt-out you knew was going to happen. The injury you knew behind closed doors how bad it was, but you weren't letting it on to the public. So with that being said, you should be able to adjust your scheme to kind of help. But, I think the Eric Kendricks injury really did hurt. The linebacking core just was not right. Blake Lynch, I like him. He's a very versatile guy. At Baylor, if you follow the story, he played literally running back, wide receiver, linebacker, running back, receiver, safety, and corner. Like, he's just kind of a Swiss Army knife. But I like the future with him. But he's not ready to be a starter in this league. Hardy Nickerson is a guy who's a backup, had to play for us. It was just you're trotting out, like, I compared it to a JV team. You're rolling out your JV defense to play against varsity state championship team. It is essentially what it looked like. Somehow we were able to get 2 picks. I mean, really, it should have been about 4. Eric Wilson dropped 2. Which would have been key, but I mean, the Vikings they weren't going to win this game. They gave them a good scare for about maybe parts of the game, but they just weren't able to stop the run. And I mean, Alvin Kamara could prove that to you, so with all that being said, Saints fans, don't be afraid to leave a bunch of comments. You guys always do. You guys are great. But one thing I will say is you guys didn't write the last two losses you had to the Vikings, because those were to end your season in the playoffs, and you were the farly more superior team. Maybe not the Minneapolis Miracle game, but I'll still take those playoff wins. But Clayton, what'd you see?
Well, I tell you what you guys are going to see soon is I'm going to get a tattoo across my chest. It's going to say AK-41 for Alvin Kamara 41, and I'm going to say 6 for how many touchdowns he scored to win my fantasy. To win my fantasy, I mean, there's several leagues that I drafted him in because that's how he literally did it for me. It got me over the hump. I was like, thank God. I love Alvin Kamara. He's such a fun dude to cover. He's such a fun player to watch play. We've talked about, you could throw him a screen on the sideline and he cuts it back. There's a video whenever they were playing the Packers and they put the Superman theme song to it as he's running with the football, and it fit perfect. And I'm like, the only thing missing is his cape as he's galloping down the field. He's just so fun to watch play. And, this is the kind of Saints offense we're used to seeing over the years of Drew Brees, is just fun, electric. And that's why I get so upset on this show, Justin. And Isaac,
I'm well aware.
Been here with us, but I get very upset and vividly upset because Sean Payton takes that electricity away by running ISOs on 2nd and 10 with Alvin Kamara. It's like, or throwing a quick screen. This game, it worked out for him. But overall, we're talking about Drew Brees and getting concerned for him again. Yeah, this is a good game for him to struggle because you got Alvin Kamara carrying you, but he did have some flashes of he looked decent. He had a nice strike to Emmanuel Sanders down the sideline for a big play that set up I think that one was a Taysom Hill touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, on that play. But Drew Brees doesn't look completely right yet. I know they said the ribs are good. I don't think the ribs are completely good.
They say a lot of things.
That's why getting the 1 seed would be so massive for the Saints team, just to give Drew another week to heal up and give it one final run here. But overall, the thing we got to see from Sean Payton in this offense is don't go to the Latavius Murray, Alvin Kamara power ISO game. Throw it a little bit. Get in the shotgun, do some drop back passing, work those passing concepts, go 5 wide, and go some empty because Drew Brees can still dissect the defense. He hasn't lost a step up here in the shoulder and the rib, and the legs he has. But that's what I'm concerned about. Is I say it almost every week. Is it's just like, Sean Payton, please, God, I'm begging, just open it up just a little bit. Don't get caught in the trap. Don't get caught running the ball and playing it too safe. Let Drew Brees be Drew Brees, and everything will be okay.
Well, how about this? The Saints didn't have a touchdown pass. I mean, when was the last time outside of the Taysom Hill? I don't think Taysom Hill had a touchdown pass. Yeah, he didn't against the Broncos. But I'm talking a Drew Brees game. Drew Brees is a starting quarterback. When was the last time they didn't have a touchdown pass and they won the game? Like it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, that's a tough stat that I don't have on hand, but this is the guy that's got the most consecutive games with a touchdown pass at like 54. He broke the record held by Johnny Unitas for years. So this is a guy that we expect to throw touchdowns. So, the 2 interceptions not good. He hasn't played in the Cletus football this year. He's showing his age more than I would have wanted to admit, me of all people. But there still is some positives here to not be all doom and gloom. But Isaac's right. You are kind of looking at those ribs and going, I don't think you're right. But he doesn't have to be right. Like Peyton Manning wasn't right for the 2015 Super Bowl to finish it off. Are you good enough to get us across the finish line? And I think we're going to have that question answered, in week 17 coming up with them missing so many people.
Yeah, the big thing is Michael Thomas, missing so many games, trying to come back from injuries. He's faced a lot of adversity this year, and a year where Drew has, had the rib injury as well. So the combination of those two things, Brees is going to play a little rusty. This is his first year with Emmanuel Sanders as well. I think they desperately need Michael Thomas healthy in the postseason in order to, make a deep playoff push.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it just speaks volumes, because we've talked about this on the show before, just how long the Saints have tried to find a number 2 wide receiver to match with Michael Thomas. They've tried it with multiple guys. Unfortunately, the vast majority of them ended in injury. I think Des Bryant was even one of them. But, they finally, I think going into the season, they're like, we finally have a number 2 wide receiver, to match with Michael Thomas in addition to, Alvin Kamara. And they were finally, Jared Cook's kind of getting towards the end of his career, but they were able to draft Adam Troutman, which some people argued was, maybe the best tight end in last year's class, or at least one of the better ones. And so that they kind of had all these pieces put together. But, with Michael Thomas being, out as long as he was, and the inconsistency, with quarterbacking due to injury, they just haven't been able to put it all together. But at the end of the day, they're still 11-4 and, still have a shot at that number 1 seed. So, big win for them. I'm sure a lot of Saints fans are happy that they finally were able to beat the Vikings, but the Vikings win when it matters, folks. But any final thoughts?
No, I think it was a year where the Vikings had a really exciting offense, a playoff type of offense. And I mean, you can't do it when you have a horrendous defense like that, when you lose all those guys. So I think it was a waste of a really good offense this season.
Exactly. Gary Kubiak led offense. Any final thoughts, Clayton?
No, just great points. We got to see what Drew Brees does week 17. There's a lot of scenarios in which they can clinch the yet, even if Packers hold the tiebreaker with them. So going to need some help from your Bears, Isaac. See what get on the phone, put in a good word, tell them any insider info you might have. But because the Saints, they're for Michael Thomas and Drew Brees to get 100% healthy, that's the only shot they have to make it to the Super Bowl and what could be Drew Brees' final year.
Exactly. Well, if you got anything wrong, or if we got anything wrong, don't be afraid to let us know in the comment section. You Saints fans always do. We love you for it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in this week to the Coach's Corner.